On today's episode of Star Wars Battle Breakdown, we take a closer look at the Resistance evacuation of D'Qar. Hey guys, this is EckhartsLadder. Hello and welcome to another episode of Star Wars Battle Breakdown. A couple of things. First of all, I've had a lot of people say that I must hate canon because I focus on legends, especially in my Battle Breakdown series. That's really not the case at all. I'm just much more familiar with the old expanded universe. I haven't read everything that's come out for canon, and other channels like Star Wars Explained I think cover the new stuff a lot better than I could. I hope this video convinces some of you of that fact, and don't forget my first ever Battle Breakdown was for the Battle of Scarif. Second, I just want to announce again that I've started a brand new Thrawn's Revenge series on my second channel, X2. I'll put a link in the upper right hand corner and also as a pinned comment. But let's get started, and as I said, today we'll be analyzing the mistakes made by the First Order during the Resistance's evacuation of D'Qar. Let's first cover what actually happened for those who don't remember. A First Order fleet comprised of one Mandator IV class siege dreadnought and 3 Resurgent class battle cruisers exits hyperspace over the Resistance base of D'Qar. As the dreadnought primes its orbital autocannon, Resistance pilot Poe Dameron successfully strafes the vessel, destroying all surface-based point defense cannons. The First Order, much delayed, scrambles their TIE fighters, but it's too late. The path is opened for Resistance bombers. The Resistance moves in with a flotilla comprised of several of these heavy bombers, as well as an escort wing of A-wings and X-wings. Although most bombers are lost, one survives long enough to drop its payload before being destroyed. Although the Mandator IV is successfully able to target the Resistance base on D'Qar, it does not have time to target the Resistance dreadnought, which escapes. This isn't the worst thing ever because the First Order has access to new hyperspace tracking technology, but it is a serious setback, especially when they could have stamped out the Resistance. There's been a lot of talk about what the First Order should have done differently. I'd like to put forward my battle strategy. So we're going to imagine that everything except for First Order tactics remains the same, from Resistance strategy to the 2 fleet compositions, etc, etc. So as my fleet exits hyperspace, I think it's important to talk about the Mandator IV. It's an interesting capital ship. It's huge at over 7 kilometers. It seems to be meant primarily for orbital bombardment. It's not quite a superweapon, but it has a lot of firepower, but it's also a gigantic target. Besides for fighters, it really only seems to have 26 dorsal point defense cannons. This means that starfighters like Poe can easily make attack runs at the ship, and that's saying nothing about actual attacks to the ventral side. I do think it is a fairly useful asset. I mean, its weapons are incredibly powerful. We see that it decimates the entire Resistance base in a couple of shots, something that would admittedly take a traditional turbo laser orbital barrage a bit more time. When sieging a planet, I would use the autocannons to stress the planetary shield, take out key targets precisely, etc. But it would also be very useful in ship-to-ship combat. My point here is that the Mandator IV is highly flawed, but also a useful asset. The asset, first of all, needs to be protected. Those 3 Resurgent Star Destroyers which escorted the dreadnought really did absolutely nothing. They were basically in the worst place possible. I would have moved them between the Resistance fleet and the dreadnought. They would have helped intercept any incoming fighters and also would have attacked the Raddus directly. I mean, conventionally, the Raddus was outgunned here. Yes, we know that it's a fairly impressive ship, but the Resurgent, while probably not as durable, is almost as large and almost certainly as well armed. That gives you a couple of strategies. Attack the Resistance fleet while the Mandator handles the ground forces, or just try to protect your dreadnought. I think either would actually work quite well. The Resurgent is actually the perfect vessel for starfighter screening. We see in The Force Awakens that it has an advanced point defense system and it carries a whole load of TIE fighters. Maybe a single ship like Poe's X-Wing could have slipped through, but I don't see any way those Resistance heavy bombers make it past a defensive line. If you do go defensive, I think it's obvious that the Mandator should first target the Raddus. It's not like a planet can hyperspace jump away. The Resistance shuttles were fleeing to the capital ship. If you destroy that first, they've got nowhere to go, and your TIE fighters can easily pick them off. That would have ended the Resistance all at once. I do give the First Order some benefit of the doubt. They probably didn't realize realize that the evacuation was already taking place, but in that case, there's no excuse not to move the resurgence into position and then aggressively move on the resistance. Also, if there's enemies, why not launch your ties right away? It's like the First Order wasn't expecting a fight here, despite the fact that the cruiser and its escort ships were clearly in position. So get your fighters out. If you're going to target the cruiser with the Mandator, form a defensive screen, or if you want to take out both targets at the same time, have your other capital ships move on the cruiser, which may actually jump away, then mop up any remaining forces. Either way, what they did in this battle was basically the worst thing possible. But that's just my take on everything. What do you think? If you were the First Order commander here, what would you have done? Which target would you have prioritized? Would you have used one of my two strategies or something else? Let me know all of that, as well as any future video ideas you'd like to see made down in the comments. Again, I've done that Empire at War video. A lot of you guys were asking for it. If you're interested, make sure to check the link again down in the description and the comments. Anyway, until next time guys, this has been EckhartsLadder. May the Force be with you.